What are you still doing here, old man?
I'm gonna f you up.
Bob Odenkirk is the kind of star you just can't define. Sure, he's one of the funniest comedians to make it off the improv stage and onto our screens, and yes, of course, we know him as the most infamous TV lawyer of all time. But even after Saul Goodman was forced to trade those slick suits for a jailhouse jumper, Odenkirk transformed into something we never could have predicted. By becoming an actual action hero, he proved that nobody puts Bob in the corner.
Take two. Offer limited to God and godlike deities. Bingo,
that was the one, Bobby.
In terms of timeless characters created over the last few decades, Breaking Bad undoubtedly gave us many of the most compelling. But going on 20 years since his first appearance in Vince Gilligan's groundbreaking series, Saul Goodman's exquisitely scummy persona still stands out.
Clearly his taste in women is the same as his taste in lawyers, only the very best, with just the right amount of dirty.
Like a wrecking ball of body humor and legitimate sleaze, it's impossible to imagine this seminal series without him. But like so many unbelievable facets to Bob Odenkirk's life, his career-defining role as Saul Goodman was only intended for a brief 3-episode run. Instantly impressed by his Season 2 debut, creator Vince Gilligan expanded Saul's appearances throughout the rest of the series. And looking back, it should have been no surprise. Cast specifically over Gilligan's admiration for a cult classic comedy series, Saul Goodman could only have been played by Bob Odenkirk. Because when you're watching Saul deliver those classic monologues and perfectly timed feats of physical performance, you're witnessing a true Renaissance man at work. From his earliest years as DJ and host of a college comedy radio show to studying improv as if it were literal science, Bob Odenkirk's interest in comedy eventually led him to performing sets with a then undiscovered Chris Farley. Taken on as a writer for Saturday Night Live, Odenkirk cut his teeth pumping out sketches with co-worker Conan O'Brien, and as the creator of Farley's most memorable character, Matt Foley, his time spent on SNL was essential. But once Bob got a chance to shine as an actor in a handful of sketches, it was only a matter of time before he headed to Hollywood. Now working full-time in LA, he served as the writer for an incredible list of short-lived comedy series. But alongside his brief stint writing on Late Night with Conan O'Brien and an Emmy Award for The Ben Stiller Show, Bob also took on an insane amount of small acting roles. From his first appearance in Wayne's World 2 to an incredible run of pop-ins throughout every major sitcom, the name Odenkirk finally began to carry some weight, and by 1995, Bob was able to unleash his talents on an unsuspecting world. Mr. Show, created by Bob Odenkirk and co-comedian David Cross, was unlike anything else ever seen on television.
Have you seen this man? He's wanted by crooks everywhere for trying to stop crime. His name is me!
Mr. Show became an instant hit with critics and HBO subscribers. Even with such esteemed fans, like then X-Files writer Vince Gilligan, Mr. Show was never able to make it past the cult classic status it still maintains to this day. But because this singular series would go on to influence sketch comedy TV on a global level, it was just another case of Bob Odenkirk's ability to change the game from behind the scenes. After a series of cinematic failures, including a Mr. Show spin-off film and some directorial efforts, Bob kept up a steady diet of character actor roles and writing jobs. But when he lost the opportunity to play Michael Scott to Steve Carell in The Office, his career seemed at risk of remaining one of those every actor's favorite actor day jobbers.
Just a little coffee talk, okay? Like butter. Come on in here. Mike Myers.
Thankfully, Vince Gilligan afforded Odenkirk the role of a lifetime shortly after. Whether stealing the scene with his Breaking Bad co-stars or ruling the roost in Better Call Saul, Gilligan harnessed the comedic genius he saw on Mr. Show so that Bob Odenkirk could become a monster of dramatic performances. And the rest, of course, is history. Well, that might be the case with any other TV star, but for the guy who made Saul Goodman an actual legacy character, Bob Odenkirk's story was only just getting started. From a redemptive appearance as an alternate universe Michael Scott to a highly effective performance in the critically renowned film Nebraska, Bob continued to showcase his abilities in surprising ways. And when he showed up in Greta Gerwig's adaptation of Little Women to literally say the line,
"My Little Women,"
it felt like we once again entered a new era of sensitive Odenkirk. But then, in 2021, Nobody entered the chat. Written by Derek Kolstad, the creator of the John Wick franchise, Nobody was a film intended to turn the unbreakable badass cliche on its head by asking the question, what if your unassuming suburban dad was secretly John Wick? Nobody couldn't afford to pull its punches with your typical action stars. And fortunately for the filmmakers and genre fans at large, Nobody found the perfect force of unexpected rage in, you guessed guessed it, Bob Odenkirk. Throughout the film, Bob plays up his physicality by way of an incredibly calculated form of pathetic.
Come on!
Nobody's Hutch Mansell combines all of Odenkirk's talents as a straight man. From his many sketches as a stoic in Mr. Show to his droopy-eyed dramatics in indie films, Hutch Mansell is so believable as a sad dad because Bob Odenkirk had already put in several lifetimes of work. But after 2 years of rigorous physical training and the same stunt coordinator from John Wick, Bob was able to pull off yet another remarkable modification to his repertoire. Revealed as a semi-jacked, if not realistically badass middle-aged assassin, nobody explodes into an all-out war between Odenkirk and the criminal underbelly of his quiet suburban town. With shockingly realistic throat punches and bullets a-flying, Bob delivers on the promise of a modern revenge film. Nobody was a surprise success for both the studio and the actor. If kicking butt wasn't part of the Odenkirk lexicon before, it most certainly is now. And nearly 40 years into an already illustrious career, Bob is still able to subvert all expectations. Now paired with some of horror cinema's most exciting and talented directors, Bob Odenkirk is on track for more macabre mayhem. From the beach bum bloodbath of Nobody 2 to the upcoming festival favorite Normal, it's clear that Bob's turn as Wick with a paunch wasn't a one-time deal. Bob Odenkirk has entered into the small pantheon of performers who were able to overcome their own careers. Much like Liam Neeson, an actor who accomplished everything imaginable in adult dramas, then reclaimed his path as an all-out action star, Bob Odenkirk never stays in his lane.
You really lit a fuse when you did that.
No, I think you did that.
And as Neeson now seemingly enters a new chapter as a comedian with the success of his Naked Gun reboot, only time will tell where Odenkirk goes post-revenge thriller. Now that Bob Odenkirk is a renowned celebrity, it would be safe to assume his time ushering in new talent is over. But just like his inability to work the same roles, Bob also can't help but continue to move the needle behind the scenes. From giving alt-comedy legends Tim and Eric their start to unfurling the carpet for upcoming improv stars like the Birthday Boys, Bob Odenkirk still shapes the comedy landscape. His brief voice role in the incredibly inspiring indie darling The People's Joker proved that his taste for talent still makes waves. And even though he may be losing teeth and cracking his knuckles these days, Bob Odenkirk still finds time to get back to his roots with sketch comedy shows like I Think You Should Leave.
The Barracuda is the one I have triples of. Oh, no, actually, I also have triples of the Roadrunner, too. But just those two. And your dad and I are the same age, and I'm rich, and I have triples of the Barracuda and the Roadrunner.
And even a brief return to Mr. Show. While there's no doubt that Saul Goodman will go down as the role that broke Bob Odenkirk's career wide open, it really isn't that simple. Studying improv among the finest comedic talents is what gave Saul his ability to go toe-to-toe with the underworld. Exploring the darkest depths of alternative comedy in Mr. Show, both literally and figuratively, gave Vince Gilligan the spark to create the most complex character on television. Accomplishing all of that in one lifetime is enough to make the average person's head spin. But with an accomplished actor like Bob, the results look absolutely effortless. And even though Slipping Jimmy will stand the test of time long after revenge films and sketch shows are forgotten, when it comes to Bob Odenkirk's never-ending career turns, there's always a chance the next legendary performance is just around the corner. And that's it for this episode of Nerdstalgic. So tell us, what's your favorite era of Odenkirk? Let us know in the comments below, and as always, be sure to hit like and subscribe to keep up with all our Nerdstalgic videos.